Okay, so my name is Taylor Ricketts. I direct the Gun Institute, and I'm here to tell you about probably the newest project that I'm working on, and one that I'd really like input and collaboration on. It regards nature, happiness, and big data. The bulk of my research tries to attack this problem here. What are the relationships between nature and human well-being? And one of the frustrating things about working on this area is it's difficult to measure human well-being in a rigorous, quantitative way. So when I moved to Vermont 2 years ago, I was delighted to find there's a group of people who are actually trying to measure happiness using Twitter data. So essentially they rank happiness over a group of 10,000 different words and then use those to estimate the average happiness of individual messages and, more importantly, groups of messages. And they've turned out all kinds of interesting graphs like this one here, which traces the changes in happiness over a 2-week span. Getting happier on the weekends, not so happy. Okay, so say what you want about Twitter-based measures of happiness. It's a biased population, not everyone's on Twitter. It's a short-term, probably relatively shallow measure of what overall well-being is, but it's also a quantified, repeatable, continuous, and observed measure of some aspect of human well-being. That makes it really attractive to me, at least. So what I wanted to do was take a spatial approach here. So I asked them for the 37 million geolocated tweets just from 2011 that they received from Twitter, this group that's in the complex systems area of UVM. And I put those inside US census block groups. So these are spatial units that the census uses to do the census every year. There's about 200,000 of them in the US. They've got roughly similar populations, but more importantly, they've got 1,000 demographic variables measured for each one, right? So these are the census block groups for the Burlington area, and those yellow lines, and the red dots there are the tweets coming out of our area in 2011. So I can just summarize those census block groups by their average happiness from all the messages coming out of them. And I can also summarize the percent natural cover just from simple land cover databases. And I'm ready to ask this sort of research question that's at the heart of this project. Is happiness related to contact with nature? All right, so I just want to graph, maybe, percent natural land cover on the x-axis against this happiness score. Maybe it's going to be like that blue line, increasing. That'd be a good story. Maybe we're going to find no effect like that red line, or maybe it's going to be some weird nonlinear decline like the green dashed line. So here, over the last 2 weeks, I've been scrambling to actually produce this graph, and this is what I have to date. It's the red option so far, right? So here's exactly that same graph. Natural habitat on the x-axis, happiness on the y. These are the 14,000 census block groups that had enough tweets to measure. And what we find is essentially no effect, a horizontal line so far, in this very simple, just correlative thing. It's actually a significant decline, but it's just so many data that almost anything can be significant with a database like this. So let's ask a little bit more nuanced question about multiple factors. So you can model happiness as a function of many things. This is the result I just showed you, a very slight decline with natural habitat. But a multiple model actually shows that it's a positive effect of squared habitat, which means at the high end it's trending back up again. Here are some of the demographic variables that are related. So happiness tends to increase with median income, and sadly decrease with the percent minority of the population in these census block groups. It's kind of an intriguing interaction effect between natural habitat and median income, meaning nature trends happiness upward, but only for the people with higher incomes, right? Okay, so these are the kind of the hints of relationships that have come out of these data in the last couple weeks, and I'd really love to talk to people about what questions you would ask of this data set now that we have it. Just a parting shot here more generally, pulling up a little bit. I think that the wash of big data that we're in now can really help us figure out this relationship between nature and human well-being. Already people have used these sorts of data to estimate the home range of people, to predict flu outbreaks better and faster than CDC can, and to predict park visitation rates using the photographs uploaded to Flickr. So there's all kinds of ways we can now measure in a quantitative way behaviors and social science attributes that really can let us unpack this relationship between nature and human well-being. So, I've said I a lot in this talk just for brevity, but this is the group that's helped me do this. So I thank them, and I thank you for listening.